desert. Hey folks, this is Max from Woodsman's Finest and welcome to another mini-series on my channel. Last year in December, after I spent 1 year in Ontario, Canada, crafting and carving myself through the woods basically, I went down to Southern California to see my family and some buddies. In 2014 I actually spent some very good quality time down in California doing a lot of BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I got to know a guy by the name of Keel. So I just wanted to meet up with him again, knowing that he was really evolving in the survival sector, more towards desert survival and primitive survival, which is really interesting. So I met up with him in Wrightwood in the Sierras, and we did a really cool hike together and spent some really good time together shooting some footage. And he actually told me that he had just finished recording the footage for an episode of Naked and Afraid, a survival show on Discovery Channel. We were just not allowed to talk about that on air basically, but he told me some really good backstage stories, so to say, and we had a really good time. So yeah, just enjoyed a mini-series. Trying to mix it up a little bit on my channel lately, so if you guys find that enjoyable after watching, please don't forget to leave a subscription and a like, because the more subscribers, the more commitment and time I can put into this channel. It's as simple as that, folks. So enjoy your time watching, and I'm gonna see you next time. Cheers.
So I'm trying to work with him with germinating pine seeds and then growing the plants or the trees up to a certain vegetative state and then replanting them up here to help stop the erosion like in the area, you know what I mean?
Cool, man.
So me, my brother, and a couple other, you know all about that as a biologist.
No, I don't. But I can understand, like, it's, I guess whatever was native here, as far as plants, would have been the best choice, I guess, to stop the erosion, right?
Exactly right. And also aiding in like wind breaks and stuff like that with certain native trees that would be perfect for wind breaks, because there's a lot of topsoil that's just blown off the top too.
Right. And there goes the grouse.
There's crystals here too we're gonna find.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's on the ground. Let's see them.
Sweet.
Summertime, and it was really hot, and I watched that actually pop out. I mean, over time, over weeks, you know, I watched as I passed by. But that's all. Have you ever made pine pitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. With like a little bit of charcoal powder in it.
Exactly. Man.
The Etsy style, you know. But it, like, you find it everywhere. Different mixtures, you know, like if you want to have a gum for a birch bark canoe, or if you wanted to like secure your arrowheads.
Yeah. Right there, man. You can even add like beeswax to make it more malleable.
Right. Like, yeah, the way the First Nations used it was with bear fat to make it this kind of goo. Turns rather hard, but then when you glue, like when you heat it up, it becomes very gummy, and that's what they seal the spruce root stitching with. I was harvesting spruce roots with the birch bark building crew up in Tamagami. That's hard work. Those guys are pretty crazy. And then like peeling it and splitting it and like heating it up, or like making it more like pliable in a hot water bath. There's a lot of steps to do just to get your stitching done. And then putting like 2 miles of stitching into a birch bark canoe. That is absolutely crazy. Wow. Now that's definitely a location. A nice bear scratching tree.
There's a little blanket that
Look at that. Wow.
Look, you can check out this wood burning stove that's in here.
You guys did a crazy job. I think I saw the wood burning stove before you guys did the shelter. I think you did a video in front of it or something. Look at this. Beautifully done. Wow.
Have like an igloo, you know?
So you coming up here mostly with your brother?
My brother, and I also lead like little survival, we call them nature reconnection classes.
Cool.
You know?
We have something similar going on with a friend of mine, Breton of The Land, Canadian Adventures. We're doing something called the School of the Wild Arts. Oh wow, you guys have a ting in here, like a
yeah, this is like the
sitting
call it
area.
Like a little community center, you know?
That's amazing, dude.
Hey, let me get out of your way.
Really love that. Look at this. Beautiful. How do you call these mountains here?
What are they called?
Yeah.
The Angeles Mountains.
Beautiful.
There's like little dream catchers hanging from the trees. Just to add that little.
Hey folks, welcome to another video on my channel, Woodsman's Finest. Today from a totally different location. So last time I filmed the video was back in Ontario, Canada, and on my way home back to Austria after a year of crafting there, I stopped by my family in Southern California. So today I want to introduce a very good friend of mine, and we have kind of a funny story we share in a way. So this is my friend Keel. We have met pretty much 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, 2014 fall, like September, October, something like that. I came back at that time from British Columbia, Canada, from a beautiful stay at a ranch. And I did the same thing. I came down to Southern California to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and meet my family and everything, and I had a blast. So I was walking into a Jiu-Jitsu gym that I wanted to check out, and I met you pretty much right away, right?
Yeah,
like,
I was
Paul
was first
there.
guy.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been friends ever since on social media.
Social media friends.
Friends
Yeah.
from Facebook, but we actually met each other. So we're
Yeah.
actually not falling into the category social media friends.
No, we met each other in
We
reality.
know each other. We
Yeah.
really know. We didn't have to connect faces and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
So, anyways, over the last few years, we both went through a pretty crazy development in a way, or like rather funny journey, right? And so I'm coming back here, same thing, and I'm like, yeah, I saw like Chad is doing a lot of like really cool survival, like crazy stuff, and I got kind of tired of the OC area of this whole like and lifestyle in a way was just like such a crazy contrast to Ontario and like the canoeing and being outdoors and like everywhere just being nature, and then OC has really cool stuff. Like I love the food and the style and like the surfing and the beaches and everything, but it was such a crazy contrast. So I really like longed for nature and forest and going back. And I'm like, I called up Chad like a day ago. I was like, dude, we gotta do something together. And it turns out that we met in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and we have gone like down a similar path, far away from each other. And now that we're connecting, we're like, that's awesome. So I want Chad just to talk a couple of minutes about what he's doing, because it is pretty mind-blowing, and it's an amazing area here. I hope I get some footage in for you guys. And we're at this amazing campsite those guys built for different purposes, which is even cooler, not just for the sake of building a shelter. And we're sitting in this beautiful circle of flat
Relatively flat rocks.
relatively flat rocks here, and like it's an amazing place. So we came up here to shoot a couple of videos and share some knowledge that because we are really on both sides, basically extremes of the same interest, with his desert experience and this arid area, and my little bit of humble boreal and temperate forest experience. So we just like talking like crazy, and so we were like, okay, we gotta sit down now and make a video before it gets dark. So like
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
Chad, go ahead and just tell the folks a little bit about you, please.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I met Max in jiu-jitsu, like he had said. Great guy. We had similar interests right off the bat. I believe we really connected over like the whole nature thing. We were talking about nature and his background in schooling, and we were talking a lot about water and organic products, and I think that's what really made us click.
And acai.
And acai, of course, we liked acai. But yeah, once he took off to Canada, he told me he was going to Canada. I followed his path on social media, and I was surprised that both of our lifestyles went down a similar path. I kind of got more into like survival and rediscovering, my primitive instincts, we'll say. And yeah, this campsite that we're actually sitting in right now is used and was built by our tribe members, or people that come out and participate in our nature reconnection classes that we have here in Southern California. So we actually come out here, and it's an escape from the city, like Max was talking about, the Orange County lifestyle that's really caught up in consumerism, basically, being consumers. And it's really nice break to get out here and reconnect with nature, reconnect with those primitive instincts. And it's actually an alternative to depression medicines and anxiety medicines, because you come out here and you're reconnecting with those primitive wavelengths that are great. So yeah, we are on different kind of spectrums. He's an awesome bushcrafter. So that was part of our reconnection today, was swapping some information, some primitive skills, but also me learning some bushcrafting skills and checking out some of his amazing products that I've been able to follow from afar over social media. And now I get to see firsthand, and man, dude, not to like sales pitch you guys, but amazing products.
Now we got the plug, now we can shut the camera off.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like we were just talking before about that. There is the side of the making the product, so like the products, rather just making the tools and the implements we like using, right? We both are very big Rainier's fans, but not only for the sake of him being a celebrity in a way. It's more that he's really basically defining an interesting path down this invest into quality, invest into handmade, locally made, sustainably made things, and enjoy them for a very long time. It's going to be an investment, it's going to be pricey, it's going to be a bigger commitment, but it is the way to go for all of us. Basically, if you have to purchase things, or you want to purchase things, you still have the choice between quick, dirty produced, not sustainable ways that are cheap, and you have to rebuy, and the smarter direction actually, where you have to commit a little bit more, and then just have something that was made by somebody or somebody in your area, or somebody where he puts like really his whole into this item, product, whatever you want to call it. And then whatever you put it on, whatever it is, shoes, a belt, like whatever kitchen implement, food, very big food, you know that, and it is a different feeling. And I think Rainier's, like, I had the pleasure of meeting him this year, and it's not this kind of fancy thing where you think like he's like having a new knife every month or new shoes or something. He has this like tried and true stuff, and like he's exactly what you see in the movies in a way. And so we have this on one side, and then on the other side we have the events that are created for people to get into these kind of things, because sometimes it's difficult, right? Like, you're interested, but it's really hard to like get out of your daily routine and just go out and do something where you feel like this intriguing me, or this fascinating me. So you need those people who are very good with other people, who like to share these things, and do exactly that, right? Create an event where you can like slowly get into something, or where you have an alternative to just popping pills, or where you have a way to get out on the weekend and recharge before you have to go back into your rather draining lifestyle that a lot of us just have to have, or whatever, It's easy to say just get out of it, but it's hard if you have already family, kids, in a certain like established area and stuff. Exactly. So it needs kind of like, to say that as humble as possible, it needs both of us.
Exactly.
To go from here to there. I didn't even prepare you for the question, but you're gonna be able to right away.
I had to do this on Discovery Channel, bro. They just be like, putting the
okay,
big
you're
ass
naked. No, go.
I had to meet that girl 3 times.
Really? Yeah,
just do it again. No, they told me you didn't talk enough. Do it again.
They're with you guys the whole time, right?
They film it. Yeah.
So the whole thing is not as like alone and I'm fucked as as it comes across.
There's only one camera guy, and then a girl who just takes notes on their phone, and then besides that.
But you have to stay out there. You have to sleep out there and all kinds.
Yeah, you stay out there. You sleep out there. They They get there 2 hours after sunrise, and they leave 2 hours before sunrise. And then you just carry a
Okay.
diary cam at night. You know, you're just alone, dude. You hear the sounds of the forest.
Right. But
I'm
it's
sorry.
no, like you, man. Like this, I actually want to know how much of all this is actually really true, and how much it is actually like, oh my god.
Like edited. So pretty much, I would say that it's 100% true, and almost 3 times as hard as it may look. Because say like when I was collecting the tinder bundle, they're like, dude, we didn't film you getting all the, you know, like all the tinder. We need to film you do it again.
But I don't have food and I'm tired. But do it again.
Do it again.
Right.
So I'd go out again, right? And then I would do
like,
it all again and fake it, even though I already did it.
Right.
You know, and I still don't have
But you're
food
still
and water.
starving. Yeah.
Or
That's-
hiking up
that's
hills, and they're like,
stupendous.
oh, can we do that shot again? Because
And you're like, yeah, I gotta
Dude.
poop on your shoes, dude. I take a crap on your boots.
yeah, it was a little hard, but
We're not gonna cut that out. Okay, so we're back again. I wanted to do a little bit of introduction video, but I want to put some information into this as well before we go on in the series that I don't even know how we're gonna call it yet. But we need a cool name for it. Anyways, so when I go into the boreal forest or the temperate forest, which is my home in Austria, which is kind of like, you know, very temperate, and then like Ontario is also very temperate where I was. There's a couple of, I don't know much about wild edibles, like apart from berries and a couple of mushrooms in Austria, but apparently in Ontario I wouldn't really go into that because there's so many similar mushrooms that are either delicious or freaking kill you, that people don't do a lot of with mushrooms in Ontario as far as I realized, which is very surprising. But in Austria it's quite simple. There's a couple you're just fine with, you know. So when it comes to woods and like all kind of different materials, I know I can use this bark, or rather this bast, like like the bark underneath, or the cambium or something, for whatever, tying stuff up. I can use withies. I can use spruce root, like what we harvested for the birchwood canoe. And then as far as trees, I love my birch because of the sap, the bark, the fire lighting capabilities, and I make most of my spoons out of it. My favorite paddle is out of it, right? So birch. Then I have my spruce boughs for like, you know, insulation, for like floor insulation, for shelter insulation, and fat wood. And so I have my couple of trees that I really like look for and like. Maple syrup in the spring, you know, the things that I can use. When it comes to this kind of arid area and the desert, I don't know nothing. So the question I have for you is, so you're walking into, like we have the desert out there, right? Which is obviously like very, very scarce as far as vegetation. And then up here, it's still very arid. So you find mainly coniferous woods, right? And like probably, I'm not sure, but probably soil is rather acidic as well. So like when rain comes, it washes a lot of nutrition out, and like it's very rocky. What are you looking for? What is your favorite material, or is there a favorite tree here where you feel like you're getting the most out of it? Because the only guy I know who's making spoons in this kind of area uses mesquite. So,
which is another real deserty type plant.
Right.
Arizona mostly, not so much up where we're at right now.
Right.
But
So is there like a thing where you come across and you're like, okay, it's good that I know this is here?
Yes. Oh, cool. Okay. I mean, just right off the bat, when you asked me that question, a plant that came to my mind that so many uses is the yucca. And I don't know if that is in the cacti type family. It sure seems like it when you get poked by it. But the yucca shoots out a stem or a stalk in the center, which we use for fire making. You can use for so many things, but also you can make cordage out of the leaves, or the long little pointed type leaves. You can strip that down and make very strong yucca cordage you may have seen before. Another plant that I use all the time is right behind me. It's actually the pine tree. And the pine tree we use for, I mean, we could eat the inner layers of the bark. You could fry the inner layers of the bark. You can boil the inner layers of the bark. The different resin we can make different pitches from, and those could be used for glues, but also used medicinally for different burns and cuts. It has great antioxidant properties. Also, just the leaves of the pine tree are stuff packed with vitamin C, so just making like a little brew or tea out of the pine tree right here behind us could be life-saving. Also, a very good tell is the resin that it produces, and the color of the resin that it produces lets you know. A lot of the trees that are in this area that may look like this pine tree might be a sequoia, like we were talking about, or the redwood.
Yeah.
and they don't produce the same type of resins, and especially not in the quantities that these pine trees do around here.
And I'm gonna put 2 pictures in here because we have a beautiful sequoia just growing over here, which is of course a very special tree, like a very intriguing tree. And then of course the redwoods as well. We have red pine in Canada, and they grow very tall as well. But I saw some humongous red pines here. One of them is in Chad's backyard, which is like, it basically takes up space in his backyard. It's amazing. that thing is really a thick sucker. And yeah, so I just put like 2 pictures in here. Like we have the pine, and then we have this red pine, which is like a little side story. The red pine was used to mark portages for canoe trails, because the red pine does not grow over. Like if you put a notch in the trunk or like into the bark, it does not grow over like a white pine does. So these notches, like rather very big, deep grooves made with an axe or like a tool, they would not grow over. They're over hundreds of years old. So when our portage is up in Ontario, we would like see the modern sign for here's the portage, and right next to it there would be the old First Nation sign. So the pine tree is like a pretty cool thing.
It's almost like a road sign also.
It is, right?
Past, yeah.
So like redwoods would do that, and white pine would like just close it up after here. So you have the yucca.
It actually has spikes that come out from the bottom. They're leaves that just look very spiky.
Yeah,
and I believe it's called a stamen in the middle.
Yeah.
So the stamen or stalk shoots out the middle, and the flowers up top are actually edible. So there's a lot of edible actually parts and medicinal uses for yucca also. But for me, it was the first wood that I ever made a friction fire with. So it's very special in my heart because it finally made that primitive connection for me.
Wow.
Another tree that I actually use for primitive fire now is the palm tree. The California palm or Mexican palm. I actually take the dead branches from the side and I'll shave them down into like a cylindrical hand friction down stem, and that actually works great because it's a very fibrous plant.
Wow.
Same with the yucca that we can go check out.
So we're having already like the kind of transition here for the next video, which is it's definitely gonna be a friction fire video we're gonna make right in like and after this one here, because this is an amazing opportunity for me, and it's kind of another huge contrast that we are into right now with these the 2 areas where we are in. But like more about that later. Is there like would there be like a 3rd plant that you would really like to see wherever you go? Like for example, like since I really don't have an idea, like very romanticized, when you're like in the desert area and you're finding a cactus like that has more of a succulent kind of like thick growth, is there one where you would know, okay, I get some kind of food or some kind of like water or moisture out of that one? And like,
of course. So the prickly pear, you ever heard of the prickly pear?
The prickly pear.
The prickly pear grows actually a lot more in the Orange County or the coastal regions.
Yeah.
But that cactus is great. Not only are you can make prickly pear like water or juice kind of, but also you could take those prickly pears and shave off those spikes, and they're completely edible. You could fry those also. So the prickly pear is awesome. Also the barrel cactus is, you'd see a little bit more low because we're a little high in elevation right now. So maybe around 4,800 feet or below, you'll see those barrel cactuses, and those are the ones that you can actually cut open. Also the Joshua tree that's around here. The Joshua tree is great for fire making. And the Joshua tree that's found here in the high desert right below us, because that's called the high desert because it's about 4,800 feet or below, but it's still like a desert type climate. So I feel like those trees probably just acclimate better in that type high elevation, but like you said, arid desert climate.
So how high are we right now?
Right now we're probably, I want to say 8,000 feet.
Are you kidding me?
No, man. Did you notice when we were hiking up here?
I was breathing hard. I just learned that we're like 8,000 feet high, and like that's not surprising me anymore. I was living like really on sea level for a year now, right? And it absolutely destroyed my I don't know the way I deal with high altitudes. I had no idea we're that high, so I came up here and I was like, I'm kind of fit, like, but I totally was out of breath. And yeah, that's pretty cool. That's actually a pretty cool thing. So yeah, man, thank you very much for like giving us insight. As this is like such a different area, and I really I'm really stoked to hear about what you can use around here. Like the coniferous ones are the ones I'm really little bit familiar with, but you can only do so much, right? So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This was kind of the first step in a little series, and we're stoked to make a couple more videos. Name your Instagram, buddy. Like I gotta put everything in a description box. Of course, all the links to chats, pages and everything. But your Instagram is?
My Instagram is I am you. Very easy to remember. So make sure you follow me over there.
Yeah, it's mind-bugging. I am you. I still can't figure it out, but it is definitely a really cool name. So yeah, me as well. Like Woodsman's Finest, Woodsman's_finest as always. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel, folks. Browse the rest of the channel. You find tons of reviews, tutorials, reviews about carving axes I made recently from all kind of custom makers and blacksmiths from around the world. You find tutorials, knife use, axe use. You find a lot of stuff there, a lot of fun stuff to watch. So please browse the channel. Leave a couple of happy thumbs to support the channel as well, and subscribe if you had a good time. And yeah, thank you so much, chat. We're taking it from here.
Man. Yeah.
You guys, thank you for watching, and I'm gonna see you next time. Cheers. Please. Yes.